I'm from Austin, and this is my video on obesity in society and things like that. So, in my opinion, obesity, to me, it sounds bad when I say it, but in my opinion, I feel like obesity is a choice. Because it's like, if we're being real, when you come out the womb, you don't come out fat. And I feel like it obviously comes from people overeating and stuff like that. And it's like, I know it's hard, it's messed up to say that being bigger is a choice, but at the same time, let's be real. I feel like obesity is a choice. Because you could limit the amount of foods that you're eating and stuff like that. But obviously, I guess you never know who has different problems with how quickly they burn fat or how much they're gaining from food that they eat. So, I guess it's messed up for me to say that, but that's just how I feel. And I feel like self-control is a factor that contributes to obesity, not being able to limit how much you're eating, not knowing when to tell yourself to stop eating how much you're eating. Parenting, where it's like parents are overfeeding their kids, or like you don't know you're controlling what your kids are eating until they get to a certain age. Like, give your kids foods that limit their weight gain or limit, too much body fat. And you get the kids based on like good parenting. I feel like, it's not a problem to be fat, but I feel like parenting is definitely a factor. I feel like them is two main factors for me. I'll say I think obesity today is I feel like it's a problem because I feel like we're trying to just even with the videos and stuff we're watching, like people are trying to make it okay for you to be overweight and be unhealthy and have health problems. But I think it's a problem because why are we trying to make you being out of shape, overweight, the word over, you're not, you putting yourself at risk just because you want to make an excuse for your body shape, your body image. Just because, it's free world, we're all equal out here. Nah, I don't think that's how it should be. I think obesity, it has the most important impact, or the most significant impact obesity has on people, I think definitely is their confidence. I feel like obesity brings a lot of people, I feel like it makes a lot of people insecure. A lot of insecurity, I feel like, comes with being obese, unless you have a good head on your shoulders. And yeah, I guess just really insecurity and confidence. Like, mentally, obesity, I feel like just the most significant impact it has on the mental side of health. I heavily agree that societal attitudes towards body images can impact one's physical health. And I strongly agree with that because I feel like, as we know, as we were discussing, like society, I feel like looks down upon on obesity and bigger people and stuff like that, or it's a negative stigma around that. So I feel like that causes a lot of overweight people to lose weight. Like, that's the societal image of it causes the obesity to go down, I feel like. And I also agree with, heavily that with the statement that societal images for body images can negatively affect somebody's health, because I feel like that's when I feel like the mental part comes into it, where we see the people that's not too strong up here that get insecure and get down on themselves and start eating more and get in depressions and stuff and stop doing stuff. That's when we see, I feel like, more the mental side come into it, where people just shut down. And that's when I feel like that's when it gets to the point of no return, and that's where we see the downfall of a lot of obese people. According to the video, the body positive movement is basically all bodies, whether that's shape, size, color, all that different type of stuff. Basically, that all bodies are equal, and when that society's view of the ideal body and all that stuff like that, we throw that out the window, and that really doesn't matter. So basically, the body positive movement is All bodies are equal. So the first person I'm gonna dive into is Sarah Chiwaya, and she is one of the content creators, media people, part of this fight. And her stance was everybody should have equal, be on equal ground when it comes to how they attack their day and how they, want to step out the house. And basically, everybody, and I like her stance when it comes to how she categorizes it as armor. She's like, however somebody wants to put their armor on shouldn't matter. It's all equal. It's all, it's all armor at the end of the day. And I respect that at that stance where it comes to armor. Like, your body, I feel like your armor protects the inside of your heart and everything. And she loses me when it comes to just, I feel like we're making an excuse for obesity. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's like, I respect her for how she, like I said, categorizes it as, we're all in this fight together. It's all equal, But at the same time, I feel like we're still just making an excuse for obesity. And so I can't fully side with her when it comes to her perspective. Next person is Aaron Flores. And Aaron Flores is a person who he had criticism about the diet culture. And I don't really understand, why are we criticizing people eating better to better their health and lives, I'm not really understanding that stance. And Aaron also was a person that he said different size bodies can be good in health. It just, like, if they have healthy habits, then it doesn't really make sense. And it's like, we're just making more excuses for overweightness. Like, if you have good habits and I guess your body is used to you eating all that bad stuff a day, and I guess it becomes a healthy habit, but why are we making an excuse for somebody keep repeating the same bad habit though? Because I guess it's he calls it a healthy habit. Like, he says they can be healthy habits, but if they're healthy habits, why isn't there a change that's happening? But that's how I look at it. And Rebecca Poole, she was somebody that said, let's just celebrate everybody when it comes to their sizes. Let's just celebrate everybody equally when it comes to body sizes. And I definitely agree with her when it comes to that standpoint. And also, she was a person that said, like, fat shaming has a lot of physical and physiological problems. Like, it causes a lot of physical and physiological problems, fat shaming. And I agree, because it all leads to what I've been talking about. People can't, take it. And I feel like it leads to just, like I said, more problems that start from the obesity. But it really comes from also, like, outside, like fat shaming. It comes from outside negative energy that brings the more negative outcomes. And then David Katz, he was the person that he said that obesity leads to premature deaths and diseases. And obviously, that's a fact. Like, we all know this. And so I really he's the person I most agree with in this whole project, where it's like, we can't overlook the fact that obesity is a problem in this culture, just to try to create loopholes around loopholes around the angles that we attack and look at it, And it's like, so David Katz is the person I really agree with the most in this, where it's like, obesity leads to premature deaths and a lot of diseases. So why are we making excuses for this, And Sabrina Strink, she was a person that said fat stigmatization leads to worse health outcomes. And she also talked about how, physicians have concluded that white women do tend to weigh more than black women, which, it's a fact, I guess. So I can't really have a problem with it, even though I hate hearing it, but it's a fact. But I do agree that fat stigmatization definitely probably leads to worse health outcomes. Because like I previously said earlier, like, I feel like a lot of people don't have enough thick skin, thick protection up here. Like, people let it really affect them negatively, and it leads to more problems than that they're already facing when it comes to this obesity problem. When it comes to Rebecca Poole and David Katz, I gotta say I side on David Katz's side, because he really just hits the nail on the head when it comes to attacking this problem. obesity causes diseases and premature deaths. It's a problem. It's bad for our health. And he also talked about how when it comes to trying to address it clinically, that we cannot overlook that it is a disease. It's technically a disease that our society is going through. And we can't overlook that. And I respect David Katz, and I really side with him more because he really hits the nail on the head when it comes to this problem that we have nowadays. I apologize, Dr. Tan, for going over the time limit. I guess I'm trying to make this quick at the end. And to talk about my perspective on obesity after the class, I guess it really hasn't changed for real, because I feel like they just been trying to make excuses for obesity. Now, I'm not going for it. But I say I'll definitely have seen, I've been given new ways to look at obesity and reasons for obesity. So I'll say that's cool. But like throughout this module, or throughout module 2, like we talked about different things about race, gender, class, social class, and stuff like that. And we talked about how people when they don't meet certain gender ideals and societal ideals about the body and just what is expected from each gender and race, it just ain't right. And I'm sorry I ran over. I'm trying to hurry up. And I'll say in society, the strategies we use for obesity and stuff, it's like there's a lot of excuses to accept obesity. We're trying to give bigger people spaces. Nowadays, we're giving more spaces to group together and try to fight against everybody else. We're trying to give them, I guess when it comes to like more social media promotion and being put out there more on the screens, and to see more people like that, and for people like that, I guess to feel better about themselves and stuff like that. And I'm about to say, I'm sorry, I guess to have to rush to the end of my project, but to reiterate my central message, obesity, like Dr. Cass said, it is a disease in this society, country. And I feel like we're trying to make a lot of excuses to accept obesity. So yeah, I apologize, Dr. Tan, for me overrunning the time limit like this, and I'm gonna do good on my final.